is Wednesday. No, we're getting started a little bit late. Weather, work, junk you got to deal with in life. You know how it goes. But hey, here we go. We are off and rolling on a Wednesday, and we're going to open up with some. We're going to open up with some basketball. Mainly because once again, things get overblown. LeBron James last night started his first game of the year, game number 15 of the season, and he just started and began his what is being called a historic season debut to start his 23rd season in the NBA. I want to talk about this for watching last night, the game between the Lakers and the Jazz, I felt is exactly what LeBron James needs to be now. And I know what the Lakers brass is watching. They want him to be healthy. They want to be able to trade him at the deadline. Until they do so, how he played last night, being primarily a point forward when Luka is off the floor and just a decoy on the offensive end when Luka's there, I believe works really well. Last night's box score, I believe, is a successful way to play for the Lakers. Last night you had Luka Doncic go for 37 points. You had Austin Reeves go for 26. DeAndre Ayton was cleaning up the boards. He had a double-double. 20 points, 14 rebounds. Huge, huge game for DeAndre Ayton. And then LeBron James only took 7 shots. He had 11 points, 12 assists. So he had a double-double in 30 minutes of playing, and I fully believe that is the way for the Los Angeles Lakers to control the scenario right now and win. They are fully there, fully capable. Last night looked pretty good from an offensive standpoint as long as LeBron does not have the ball. He is not the play. He's not the greatest player right now. He was walking around. He's definitely not in shape, ready to play yet. Last night was a very good game for him to work into, but I think that's the best position he can be in. He missed. He went to the foul line and he missed both free throws. I remember I was watching and we were like, it would be funny if he missed both free throws. Yeah, it was. It definitely was. But I think his passing ability as a point forward is still his greatest asset. Now, I do want to talk about the Jazz for a second because the Utah Jazz have some young players. They struggle on the road, but they are much better at home. But when you look at this, Markkanen had 31 points last night. Keontae George had 34. Bailey had 13. Nurkic had 10 and 10. He had a double-double last night. And the reality with all of this is that there are some really good scores in the NBA right now. There are some very good scores. Keontae was 13 of 23. Lauri was 12 of 21 from the field. Luka was 11 of 22. Reeves was 7 for 11. Like, it was not bad. The way that everything played out was not bad at all. So the Lakers get the win last night, 140 to 126, in LeBron's opening debut. And I believe the Lakers will definitely be looking at the deadline to trade him because when it comes time for the playoffs, He's going to be tired unless you rest him a lot, which there is a team that already got in trouble for that. We'll go over that here in a second. But then you had the other late game that was on NBC, the Portland Trailblazers and the Phoenix Suns. This game was very tight in the first half, and then the Phoenix Suns in the second half just basically blew the doors off the Blazers en route to a 127 to 110 victory. Devin Booker put up 19 points on 6 of 13 shooting. Mark Williams put up 15. Fleming put up 4. Godwin put up 10. Gillespie put up 19. Oso put up 14. It was a very good team effort win by the Phoenix Suns. They shot 48% from the floor, 86% from the free throw line. I thought it was a really good game for them. Defensively, they had 19 steals. The Phoenix Suns had 19 steals. That is wild. 19 steals. They only had 15 turnovers themselves. For the Trailblazers, Shadian Sharp, 29 points on 12 of 24 shooting. And he was basically the offense. They shot 43% from the floor, 80% from the free throw line, but only 24% from three-point range. So Portland struggled a little bit last night, getting the shots to fall from deep, and that is how you end up losing 127 to 110. The San Antonio Spurs, without Wembanyama, beat the Memphis Grizzlies in a just destroying third quarter. They absolutely put the clamps down on the Grizzlies in the fourth quarter, outscoring them 25 to 14, getting the victory 111 to 101. But again, another full team game by both teams. Jaren Jackson, 18 points. Cedric Howard, 19 points. Vince Williams, 14. Cam Spencer, 15. Santi Aldama, 10. A full team game by the Memphis Grizzlies, but the Spurs were a little bit better. De'Aaron Fox had 26. Harrison Barnes had 23. Keldon Johnson had 18. Vassell added 10. Cornette did not score last night, filling in for Wembanyama. He's just going to be up and down. You're going to have to take that as it goes. That will not be anything new. But the Spurs get the victory 111 to 101. Another game that was last night was the Pistons at the Atlanta Hawks. They get the W 120 to 112. Duncan Robinson, 14. Stewart, 13. Duren, 24. Cunningham, 25. Danis Jenkins, 14. Starting 5. All 5 of them in double figures. And that's how you do it. That's how you do it. That's how you play basketball to win. For the Hawks, Jalen Johnson, 25. Alexander Walker, 24. Okongwu, 21. Daniels, 12. Gueye, 11. I like some of this team basketball. It is a lot nicer to be able to watch. No doubt about that. No doubt about that. It is a lot nicer to watch. I absolutely love it. Then you had the Boston Celtics destroyed the Brooklyn Nets 113-99. The game was close for the first 3 quarters, but again, the more experienced team took over in the fourth, and the Nets just couldn't get a bucket to go down. Jaylen Brown ended up with 29. Pritchard had 22. Derek White had 15. For the Nets, Michael Porter had 25. Day'Ron Sharpe had 16. Noah Clowney had 13. So the Celtics get a win. They're now above 500 again, 113-99. And then in a really, really big game, a statement game for them, the Orlando Magic beat the Golden State Warriors last night. And it was not because the Golden State Warriors were cold from the field. Jimmy Butler scored 33 points. Steph Curry scored 34 points. As a team, the Warriors shot 50% from the field, 36% from 3, and 79% from the free throw line. But the Magic shot 51% from the field, only 25% from 3, but shot 93% from the free throw line. Franz Wagner, 18. Silva, 15. Carter Jr., 17. Desmond Bain, 23. Jalen Suggs, 13. Beautifully done by the starting five. And then Anthony Black off the bench, 33 minutes off the bench. He scored 21 off the bench. The Orlando Magic played a really, really good game last night. Really, really solid. They are now back above 500 as well and looking good. Really, really looking good. So I like where the Magic are. I think they're going to get stronger as the year goes on. And we will definitely see what happens. We will definitely see what happens. There is no doubt about that. And in basketball is in a very interesting spot right now, mainly because as the NIL comes in, these players are going to become more domestic. It's going to be more homegrown players. You're going to get less Europeans being drafted out of the EuroLeague and more players being brought in here. Because of that, I think it's absolutely huge for the NIL to get basketball back to where it's watched by your local fans. Teams that your local fans can get behind. Here in Indiana, we have Purdue. I call them Purdue in basketball, Purdue in football. Sorry, deal with it. And Indiana currently has just been in a really weird spot, but I do have hope that they'll make the tournament this year. I do like the team. I like some of the NIL that they've spent, and we'll see where it goes. But for the NBA to really start coming back, you need to have the local fans around the schools get excited again, get excited about the players again. And that is what I'm hoping the NIL will do. Spread out the players. Euro players are coming over to play college first, which is a good thing. They're going to college, which means they're local. They get a little bit of light before teams, the fan bases get to know them before they join the NBA and get drafted. And I do believe that is a very vital part if the NBA wants to remain competitive in any aspect with the NFL. So I like where it's going. But speaking of the NFL, let's jump to the NFL. We are still going to play the game to close it out today. Backup to startup. We're going to go through some of the backups that I think could end up potentially being in starter roles next year. But I do want to go over this. I saw a mock draft yesterday, and this person is not afraid to propose trades, which means he's a guy after my own heart, because we know trades are going to happen. We just don't know what they are. So with the current draft rankings, he says that the Jets will trade up to the number 1 pick to currently draft Fernando Mendoza. What that really indicates to me is that, number 1, I think that would be an awful spot for Mendoza to go. The Jets need a veteran quarterback. In fact, if the Jets were to be the number 3 seed, I believe trading Matt Stafford to the Jets to help Aaron Glenn set up something would give Matt Stafford longer of a time frame of starting, because the Rams aren't going to give him much more of a runway. If he wants to play 3 more years, it's not going to be with LA. LA is ready to move on after this year. They were ready to stand pat and slightly let him walk this past offseason. So because of that, I still think the Rams are a very sneaky team to look out for, to trade a veteran quarterback to be able to get the pick that they want. And I think it would work. But this guy says they trade up, Jets draft Fernando Mendoza. Then he's got the Browns trading with the Giants to get Dante Moore. I don't think that's accurate at all. I really don't. Why? I don't think Dante Moore is going to come out. I really don't. He's too young. Way too young. Take a hint from all your predecessors. Experience matters. Fernando Mendoza has 3 years starting in college football. He's going to have close to 40 starts by the time it's all said and done. That is valuable, priceless valuable. You don't have that if you're Dante Moore. I don't think he comes out. So I don't think that happens. He's got the Giants drafting the offensive tackle from Miami. And I fully agree with this. I think they will go offensive line, but it depends on who their coach is as well. I don't know who their coach is going to be. I don't know who's going to want to go work under John Mara. I don't know who's going to want to work with Joe Schoen. I'm not sure of any of those right now, so we'll have to see how that plays out. But then he's got the Tennessee Titans here drafting fourth after the trade with the Jets, and they're taking a receiver, Jordan Tyson. I 100% disagree. I 100% disagree. In a draft where if you're going to trade with the Jets, you're going to trade again. They will trade back because they need picks. And right now, a receiver at number 4, you need receiving help. Do you draft him at number 4? He's not that. I mean, he's 6'2", 200 pounds. Jordan Tyson is. He's got some speed. He's a lot like Xavier Worthy, though. Are you drafting Xavier Worthy 4th in a draft? It's just speed. I really don't like that pick. Now, I will say if they drafted Jeremiah Love out of Notre Dame at 4, it would still be high, but I could actually buy that if they got rid of Tony Pollard and moved off of Pollard in the offseason. I could get behind that one. Love would be worth it. Jordan Tyson, not even close. Number 5, they have Ty Simpson from Alabama going to the Raiders. We'll see. They have a linebacker going to the New Orleans Saints, an edge rusher to the Commanders, edge rusher to the Bengals, and then Caleb Downs going to the Arizona Cardinals. And then the Los Angeles Rams drafting an offensive tackle, currently sitting at 10th, which we know will not be where they actually are. The first corner would be out of Tennessee, Jermod McCoy, who is a really good corner going to Miami. Defensive tackle Peter Woods goes to the Vikings. They've got Jeremiah Love going to the Cowboys. I don't think he makes it to the Cowboys. I don't think by the time this is all said and done, Jeremiah Love makes it to pick number 13. He shouldn't. Now, if you remember what I said yesterday, this mock draft has the Baltimore Ravens drafting David Bailey, the edge out of Texas Tech. I said that was a really interesting spot. I said if there was the Texans or the Ravens, it would be great for him. Well, there you go. They got the Chiefs drafting a tight end, probably to replace Kelsey. They have the Texans drafting a guard, absolutely. Then they have the Panthers drafting another receiver. Why? That team needs so much help on the offensive line, defense everywhere. Why are you going to waste a pick? I love Mekhi Lemon. They've got him drafting Mekhi Lemon. I think Mekhi Lemon's hands give him the advantage over a lot of receivers in this draft. He is not the same size, but he reminds me a lot of Larry Fitzgerald and how he runs routes. He gets open, very crisp, clean route runner. I love Mekhi Lemon. I absolutely love Mekhi Lemon. But do the Panthers need another receiver? I know it worked out for the Bucks drafting Ibuka, but do the Panthers really need another receiver right now? Leggett has looked really good. McMillan is a stud. You got 2 running backs. You got a really good tight end. I don't get it. I really don't get it. They got the Lions drafting an edge rusher. The Steelers drafting a receiver, Carnell Tate. The Browns drafting an offensive tackle. The Bucks drafting a corner. the Chargers drafting a defensive tackle along with the 49ers. The second pick that the Cowboys have, they have drafting an edge. The Chicago Bears, they have drafting the offensive tackle from Alabama, Caden Proctor. Then they have the Buffalo Bills picking up Denzel Boston, the receiver from Washington. I don't know. Buffalo has a lot of needs. And this could be up or down, obviously. Buffalo has a lot of needs. And my thought is, I really think they need a lot more than just receiver. I would try to find receivers if you could stop paying them $12 million a year. I love Khalil Shakir. I think he is an outstanding slot receiver. They do need a big receiver. I think they trade Keon Coleman, but I also believe there's going to be receivers available for them to potentially trade for and get. DJ Moore, I believe, is unhappy in Chicago. He is going to be on the market. He doesn't like Williams. Look out for guys like Jerry Jeudy to potentially be available. I think he fits Buffalo pretty good. So I don't like the receiver for Buffalo at all. The Seahawks they've got drafting a corner. The Titans then, in the trade with the Jets, got the Colts pick, which they would then draft a corner. They've got the Eagles drafting a wide receiver. I think that's because they believe A.J. Brown is going to get traded. So that one I could believe because of that. They have the Patriots drafting a receiver, which if they're 30th, it would make sense. It would absolutely make sense. They've got the Rams then drafting a linebacker. That would help them, but I think corner is still a much bigger need. And then they got the Broncos drafting a linebacker, Anthony Hill, out of Texas because Singleton is set to hit free agency. Okay, so now let's go. After we did the mock draft that Miller did, after that, now let's go and let's play backup to startup. Who are some backup quarterbacks right now that could potentially get a look in 2026? Here we go. I'm going to give you a few. I do believe that Jacoby Brissett has a chance to end up starting next year for the Arizona Cardinals. I do believe that they will trade Kyler Murray. There are a ton of needy teams for quarterback. The Vikings need a quarterback. The Chargers are all set at quarterback. They could probably use a backup because Herbert's been hit a lot. I don't think Trey Lance is going to be it. The Raiders definitely need a quarterback. I think for the Chargers, getting a backup like a Jameis Winston would actually really help them. But I don't know if he would work with Jim Harbaugh very well. But if you're talking about backups, look out for Jacoby Brissett to end up actually fully starting next year for Arizona as they retool. They kind of do what the New Orleans Saints did. Why mess it up? We're going to reset. We're going to take this year to reset. We're not going to do anything major. We're not going to do anything brash. Let the financials reset for a year. Get us some cap space in 2027 and move on and move forward from there. The coach will know ahead of time this year is it's a mulligan year. We're not really counting year number one. Let's just play. Let's be competitive and let's look at what we have. Another team that has a backup that I think we really, really need to watch is going to be the Cincinnati Bengals. And why? I think Jake Browning with the right coach may be able to take care of the football a little bit more. You have the yards with Browning. Big arm. Touchdowns. But he's a lot like Jameis Winston. You get all the interceptions too. But there's something to be said about a quarterback that can push the ball down the field and push it pretty well. Flacco was brought in to be able to save the season. They're without Chase this week against the Patriots. I have the Patriots just ending up blowing them out. I don't see the Patriots I think Flacco's going to be on his back a lot. I don't think Higgins is going to get open by himself, and Christian Gonzalez is going to basically have him covered. So Joe Burrow then comes back the next week, potentially against the Ravens, when they try to salvage the season for whatever it is. But I think you need to look out for Jake Browning. Why? Because he can throw the football downfield. He can push the ball downfield. And anybody who's willing to take on a project, Zach Taylor, we don't know whether he's good with quarterbacks or not. We know Joe Burrow doesn't like him. So we don't know if he's good with quarterbacks or not. What if Jake Browning were to go to a team like the Rams? What if the Rams go, okay, let's go get Browning, and McVay brings him in and he goes, okay. What if he goes to Minnesota? Cuts down on the interceptions. Okay. Justin Jefferson would be happy with the quarterback that can actually push the ball down the field. So look out for that. That is something I think really, really, really needs to be talked about, is the potential for Jake Browning to be brought in by a quarterback coach that understands what's going on. Another guy that I think over the last 2 years has shown himself very valuable is Malik Willis, the backup for the Green Bay Packers. He is small. Do I think would be a great full-time starter? No, but I do believe the Packers will have a little bit of pressure to pay him a little bit more in the backup role because they're going to get offers for Malik Willis. Malik Willis has come in multiple times, looked very good. Yes, with a good offensive coach, I will give you that 100%. But he's looked good. He doesn't turn the ball over a ton. He plays within the system, and that is all you can ask a quarterback to do. So look out for Malik Willis to potentially have the suitors to get a starter. But if I'm the Packers, I'm just paying him. I'm paying him what the Bears pay Tyson Bagent to back up Love. I don't want to lose my backup when I've got a quarterback like Jordan Love sitting there. All right. The next backup I think we're really going to have to look at, believe it or not, is going to be Dillon Gabriel. Because I think the Browns are going to go get somebody else. Deshaun Watson, I've been watching this scenario for a while. And there's going to be a team that takes a flyer on Watson. There will be a team that takes a flyer on Deshaun Watson. Can he mentally come back into the game? That's the first question. Can he mentally get back into the game? I don't know if he can or not. But look out for Dillon Gabriel, who was the backup, is now the starter, has a concussion. Sanders is starting. My guess is it goes back to Gabriel after this. But look out for Gabriel and Watson. Watson is a really weird one. Watson's a really weird one. Mainly because he's going to be cheap. So you're going to have very little risk bringing him in. Because the Browns are just going to have to cut him, eat the dead money over the next 2 years. So you can sign him for $1 million, $2 million, $3 million. You can sign him for a really cheap deal. Look out for Deshaun Watson. I have been out of the Deshaun Watson camp for a while now. There is something to be said, though. He's been off for a long time. Who's to say he's not ready to go? Who's to say he's not ready to rock and roll with what's happening? I mean, we'll see. Do I think it's going to happen? No. Would it shock me if he got a flyer from a team that just needs a quarterback and they want to take an opportunity, take a chance? No, it would not shock me in the slightest for that to happen. Not at all. Another guy that I think potentially is playing himself into a backup to startup position is Marcus Mariota. I believe Chip Kelly could work better with Marcus Mariota in Las Vegas than he does Geno Smith. I believe Mariota actually fits the Las Vegas game plan a lot better. He is the current starter right now in Washington. We don't know if Jaden Daniels is going to come back or not. I would not bring him back. Be very clear. I would not bring him back. There is no reason to bring him back whatsoever. But I would run Mariota all the way, and it's going to end up getting him a $10 to $15 million a year deal, as it should. As it should. And I think there's going to be teams that may want to take a flyer on a guy like Marcus Mariota, veteran, they're potentially just able to do what you need him to do. And then there's going to be two guys that I'm watching that are currently rookies. Number one, Jalen Milroe from the Seattle Seahawks. Drew Lock has been the number two quarterback all year. I understand why. But Jalen Milroe sitting at third, okay, backup, he's in that system. Clint Kubiak's there. I believe 1,000% Jalen Milroe could have trade offers this offseason, 5th or 6th round picks, to be able to see if he can just run the offense. The draft class isn't strong. Milroe is one of the most athletic players that most scouts said they had ever seen outside of Michael Vick, and I think he would do well in some offenses. I don't think he's a great quarterback from the quarterback standpoint. But if you're going to adapt an offense to him, could he win you 9 games? There's a definite possibility. And the number one guy that's going to go back up to startup is Mac Jones. I think he gets about $25 million a year. I believe he will end up being a starter for one of these quarterback needy teams because I do believe Mendoza is mainly the only quarterback that's going to be drafted in the first 2 rounds. And because of that, you are looking at a team like potentially the Dolphins with Tua, even the Cardinals, if they don't run with Jacoby and Jacoby ends up moving on. If I'm the Cardinals, I would go sign Mac Jones, somebody who's consistent, but it depends on who you get as the head coach because I think Gannon's going to get fired. The New York Jets, whoever gets Mendoza, is getting a starting NFL quarterback, but then you have a lot of scrambling after that. If the Saints end up working with Suge, listen, if Tyler works this week and he beats Atlanta, he's 2-1 as a starter. He can close out this year really strong. They'll give him an opportunity to start next year, as they should. Bryce Young in Carolina, listen, I don't think they're sold on Bryce Young. But if they brought in a guy like Mariota, like a Mac Jones, could they be a team that trades for a Jalen Milroe? You got to look at stuff like that. Jake Browning, I think, fits the Vikings and the Rams the best. He needs a quarterback's coach to help him understand what he's doing. He's got the arm talent. He can push the ball down the field. I think Jake Browning to the Vikings would be a huge upgrade over J.J. McCarthy, and it would be cheaper, and I think the Vikings could easily get back to playoff contention after that. The Commanders are going to run with Jaden Daniels, but then they're going to need a backup because I think Mariota moves and goes somewhere else. So when you look at the entire league, we got at least 4 teams that just need a quarterback, and then we've got 4 or 5 others that have to be thinking about, is there a better quarterback on the market for my team? And that's where this is going to get so interesting with the draft, because if the Rams end up being top 5, who's going to stop them from making that move? Because they're going to be aggressive, and if they believe in a guy like Mendoza, they're going to go get it. And you're not going to outbid Stan Kroenke and Les Snead and Sean McVay for a quarterback they want. You're not going to outbid them. They will put all their chips on Mendoza and surround him with everybody they need to. They already have Nakua locked up. They got Devontae Adams for 1 more year. They got Kyron locked up. They got solid tight ends. They draft an offensive tackle with their second pick. You'd have an offensive line that protects the quarterback rather well and a defense that makes them not have to outscore everybody. It'd be a great situation. I still think Sean McVay and the Rams are looking at Mendoza, and they're hoping the Falcons just lose and lose and lose. And with Kirk Cousins, it's a possibility. I'm not throwing it out the window. So look out for Jacoby Brissett potentially to start in Arizona. They trade away Kyler Murray. Other players, look out for Jake Browning. Look out for Deshaun Watson and Dylan Gabriel. Look out for Mac Jones. Mac Jones is the number one guy you got to watch out for. Marcus Mariota is a close second because of what he's done with Washington this year. The offense hasn't looked horrible. McLaurin's been out. They have no running back. The offensive line is injured. And I don't think they're going to throw a lot of that on Mariota. I do believe that Washington does have a little bit of a break this year. They get that early draft pick. I think it'll really help them as they try to propel and move forward. So there we go. Backup or startup. I know it was a shorter podcast, guys. We're only at about 40 minutes. Work is still what work is. Hopefully it'll slow down after Thanksgiving. That's my hope. Thanksgiving week, everything will slow down. So next week we should get back to being able to do this every day on time, relaxed, chilled, the way that I want it to be. But I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe to support the podcast. I deeply appreciate it. Make sure to share it with a friend if you would please. It is Wednesday. You're halfway through the week. Way to go. You only got 2 more work days to go. Finish it out strong. Make it the best Wednesday that you can. And I will talk to you guys tomorrow morning as we get into Hawks Locks. We get into the previews for the weekend. We'll get into a couple more things tomorrow, and we'll see where it goes. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. As always, for Sports Talk with Hawk, I am Hawk, and I'm out. Have a great day.